Yeah, honestly, what I say to that, as time goes on, because the industry compared to other industries is still relatively new. I'll call it, well, I guess the gig economy. I guess I'll just call all of
Yeah.
this. Yeah. And with that being the case, I do think that laws eventually will get introduced that will force a level of transparency of all these companies that they'll have to follow, so that if you do get kicked off, they have to tell you why, and there's a more streamlined process on how to reverse it if it's reversible. And this is already happening on a local level. Some places, I forgot where, but there's a city in America that they have a different process for if you get deactivated on a gig app like Uber or Lyft. You have to, I think it's a form of arbitration where essentially an office is set up and they have to hear both sides and decide whether this qualifies for deactivation or not. The name of the city, it just escapes me. I don't know why. I know at least one city has done that here in America.
Hmm.
And I do see more local governments following, but eventually it will be done on a federal level, and that will change the game. Now, when that's going to happen, the industry's so new. So I wouldn't bank on it happening probably for another 5 to 10 years, to be honest.
It should be like that because that's messing with people's livelihoods. Like I know people who do Instacart, and I remember back in we spoke about this. I remember back in like 2020, Instacart was booming. It was new. People were getting good money running these orders and stuff. And now that they have so many people on the app that are willing to work for them, and this is a pattern with a lot of companies that I've noticed. They'll lower the pay to just the most minuscule pay for the most ridiculous things, and then they'll dock you if you don't take a certain amount of orders. Or really, what it comes down to is if you're not going to take some sucker order, like
Mhm.
you know, this is a exaggerated example, but 20 miles away, picking up 50 items for $10. It's just like who in their right mind would do something like that? You're gonna spend like an hour plus completing this, what I mean, making below minimum wage, but this is legal. And they can do it because there's a supply and demand issue. You got, you know, migrants that are willing to do this work. You got crackheads that just want to get their next hit that'll just go run and do it real quick.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Or tweakers now. I mean, you got the spinos, I call them, the people on the fentanyl. They walk around bent with their spine bent over with a broken spine
Oh,
on spinos. You know what I'm saying? Like you got these people out here that's just willing to work for peanuts, driving the price down.
yeah. And honestly, I would be open to this because, like, I honestly see it like this: there's the business owner, then there's an employee, and like the in between for the longest time was an independent contractor or a freelancer. And that's still the case, but I think nowadays people are confusing these gig apps as being in between too. Like, oh, well, y'all are independent contractors because we say so, pretty much. When in reality, if you sit down and think about it, not employees either. To be honest, they're dependent contractors. So that's closer to an
Man,
employee. It's like in
damn.
between a freelancer and employee. And I think a new category should be made called dependent contractors, where it takes some from employees and some from freelancing, because ultimately that's what I see it as.
It's the worst of both worlds.
Hey, there you go. There you go.
Like I know people who, when things slow down in the wintertime and they're struggling on one of these gig apps, I tell them, man, you might as well go get a fucking job. Like you make more work, you make more with a minimum wage job. Go get you two jobs to during your slow time until you get back on your hustle or whatever, stack up real quick. I mean, literally, you're gonna make more. Just go and get you a minimum wage job.
Yeah, go. Literally, if you compare the quote unquote wages at McDonald's to what you would have to take during the slow season at some of these gig apps, the McDonald's would actually pay more.
Definitely. I mean, I'm in Seattle, man. The McDonald's is paying like $22 an hour. Which it sounds like like maybe 10 years ago that sounded good. But an apartment
Inflation is
here is
ridiculous.
3 grand, 3,500. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it sound all right until you realize how much you gotta pay and how much you gotta spend to live. And gas is $4.50. And I mean, it sound cool and everything, but yeah, the minimum wage really, man. I feel like the minimum wage in this country should be at least $30 an hour. At
You're
least.
not you're not gonna really get any arguments from me. Um, because it's not like they're going to solve the ultimate problem of inflation. The only real band-aid is to keep increasing the wages along with it. But businesses, they don't want to do that because they still want to remain profitable. So it's like,
That's the problem. At a certain point, you can't remain possible profitable and also keep increasing the wages to keep up with inflation.